Hello folks, today I'm going to be taking a look at the Darth Vader Operative Expansion for Fantasy Flight Star Wars Legion. So, unlike the core set where Vader is a commander, this allows you to run Vader as the Rogue One badass that we see killing everybody up on the ship just before the Tantive escapes. So what do we get in the box? We get Vader and his base, a bunch of cards, and then the assembly instructions. So assembly wise, different sculpt from the box. Fairly simple, 2 arms, torso, legs, head and cloak. Any additional rules? Infiltrate and scout and surge tokens. The full rules can be found on FFG's website where they have the living rulebook. So, ignoring the 20 mya base, it has a number. I think it's 27.3 millimeters. It has a strange number, but so torso, Sith armor, and a bit of a cloak. We have sprue gate's been removed from here, but it's actually been removed with a knife. So it's fairly crisp. The seam line runs the front edge of this cloak and then comes in and runs up the side of the armor. So it's barely noticeable. Corner of the belt and top of the robe there. The return runs through the middle, slightly more noticeable, but I think when the cloak itself is on over the top of that, it will mask it. Have a look. When the arms are on. So, one there and one there. Putting the arms on first makes a lot more sense. Sprue gate and edge of the mold is going to be hidden by the cloak there. Oh. And the front seam is not really noticeable at all. It's part of the gauntlet. Just about 0.5 mil in from the edge of the gauntlet detailing. A bit more noticeable here because it runs along the side and the elbow. But he does have a lot of detail on that, so it masks it fairly well. We'll need to straighten out the lightsaber. Just use heat, so hot water or a hairdryer. Pop the cloak in. I can see some noticeable seams right under the shoulders here, but when the cloak goes in, they're completely masked. So on the back, no real seam lines at all. Oh, slight amount on the interior here, but nothing to worry about. You could clean up the bottom of the cape, but not many people will see that. Legs fit in snugly, and the head, that sprue gate there will need to be fixed. There we go. Vader striding purposefully forward. I have to say I quite like the pose they've gone with here. Noticeable gap just there between the shoulder. Now he will all be black, so whether or not you want to fill that is up to you. If we have a look at his cards then. So Vader as an operative comes with his command token, suppression, some surge tokens, wound markers, standby. The fact he comes with suppression is interesting because he doesn't normally take it himself in the commander version. So, have a look at keywords for Vader. He has all of the keywords. So blast ignores cover, impact 3. So when attacking armored targets, he can convert 3 hits to surges. Pierce 3, he ignores 3 defense results. And Scatter, after you perform an attack against the small base trooper unit, you may place the defending non-leader minis in each defending non-leader minis in the defender in cohesion. That's very badly worded. Have I read that wrong? After you perform an attack against the small base trooper unit, you may place each defending non-leader minis in the defender in cohesion. No, I haven't read that wrong. That's been worded by somebody who's never seen English as a language before, apparently. But there you go. I'm sure the Living Rulebook makes that clearer than it is there, because that's not clear to me at all, what they actually mean. 170 points for Vader, so a bit of a drop. As the Emperor's Apprentice rather than the Commander, he also is reduced to 2 force powers and 1 training. However, he does have Deflect built in. He has immunity to Pierce built in. Jedi Hunter, so when attacking a unit that has a force power upgrade icon, even if they don't have the force power for it, he gains Surge Critical. Master of the Force, so at the end of the activation you can ready one of your upgrade cards. Relentless, so he can move and attack. Spur, while performing a move you may gain 1 suppression to increase your speed by 1, and that right there is why he has suppression tokens. He has a courage value now, so rather than infinite like the Commander version, Apprentice Vader is a little less sure of himself. He also has 6 hit points and a red dice in defense. No surges beyond his special abilities. 5 red dice with Impact 3 and Pierce 3, so that's good. And he can also Force Throw built in. It's not a force power. So range 2, 2 black dice, Blast and Scatter. So that's quite cute. So a cheaper way of running Vader. Let's have a look at his upgrades. So he comes with Tenacity for training. So when performing an attack, if he's wounded, he gets to add an additional red dice to his pool, which is always handy. He also gains, or has the option to gain, Endurance. So he can remove 1 suppression at the end of his phase, which is nice if you're going to use Spur to push him further. He can have Force Guidance, so 2 friendly units within range 1 to 2 gain a surge. And Fear, so he gains Demoralize 1 after the rally step. Enemy unit within range 1 or 2 gains 1 suppression token. So not quite as all-powerful and all-consuming as Commander version is, but still very potent. So command card wise, he comes with his 3. First off is Vader's Might. So for 1 activation point, he gains action, choose another non-heavy unit within range 1 and place that unit on the battlefield within range 1 and height 1 of its current position. Then if it is an enemy unit, roll 1 white dice for each mini in the unit, and they suffer 1 wound for each defense or surge defense result. So that's good. Essentially, as long as it's not a tank or an ATST, he can pick them up and relocate them. And if it's an enemy unit, he'll smash them into the walls as he does so. So that's nice. Fear and Dead Men. Which I think is a quote from one of Vader's comics when they're attempting to take him down just after the start of the rebellion. You have to surrender, you're surrounded. Because all I see is fear and dead men before he gets stuck into all of them. So while Vader uses Deflect, the attacker suffers a 1 wound for each blank result instead of each surge defense result. So that increases it from a 2 in 6 chance to a 3 in 6 chance, I believe. So from a third to a half. When an enemy unit at range 1 or 2 and line of sight of Vader activates, he gains a dodge token. So that's great. He can keep get him into position, and he can keep spamming that blast or deflect through use of dodge over and over again. And finally, his 3-point command card is Darkness Descends. When he's issued an order, he gains 2 surge tokens. Now, you can reveal this card at the start of your deployment phase, and if you do so, Vader gains Infiltrate and Scout 1 and must be deployed at the end of the setup. So that's interesting. You're going to have 1 less card in your hand when you start the game, but Vader, who's notorious for being quite slow, will gain Infiltrate and Scout, so he'll push further up the battlefield and get a free move before the game starts. Now, he must be deployed at the end of the setup. I see that as a bonus, really, because you don't want to have to force to deploy him at the start of the setup, which is probably what I would have went with if I'd written that card. So it means you can see where everybody is and what your objectives are. So that is very, very tasty indeed. Yeah, Darth Vader as the Emperor's Apprentice and an Operative. I think it's definitely a way to go for Star Wars Legion. Bring out some Imperial officers to do the lackey job of commanding people, and then just set Vader loose on your opponent. Let me know below what you think of using Vader. I'm going to move on, and I'll speak to you soon.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.